We are going to work on the 5-3 work together. So 5-3 work together, it says that we are going to enter each of the transactions onto page 15 of the journal. So our first transaction is on August 18th. It says that we received notice from the bank of a dishonored check from Christine Iverson, $126 plus a $25 fee for a total of $151, memorandum number 312. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my date because I know what that is. So I'm going to put in August 18th. Now, next thing I have to do is I have to figure out what account I'm going to debit and what account I'm going to credit. Now, I should know when I see this that I received notice about the dishonored check, I have to cover that. So that right there tells me that that's going to be a cash. Now, I'm going to have to pay for that, so that tells me that's going to be a cash credit. Okay, the other account that I'm going to deal with is this Christine Iverson. So we're going to say that she's going to owe us money. So we're going to put that into an accounts receivable. So I'm going to say accounts receivable. And I'm going to say Christine Iverson. The document number that I'm using is M312, Memorandum 312. Okay, now I'm going to debit that account. So now I have to figure out how much I'm going to debit it for because I have 3 different numbers. She wrote us a check for $126, but we also have to pay for that fee of $25. So we have to debit that amount for the whole amount there. So we're going to put in $151 debit, and then we're going to credit our cash for that $151. Okay, so we have a debit and a credit that equal. Moving on to the next one, August 20th, it says that we paid cash on account to Schwartz Enterprises, $270 using EFT, memorandum number 312. Again, I'm going to start with my date. I don't need to put August in there because I already have that in, so I'm just going to put the 20th. Now, I paid cash. Whenever we see paid cash, we should automatically know that that's going to be a credit to cash. So now I need to know what I'm going to debit. It says paid cash on account, so when I'm paying cash on account, that should give us a hint that that's going to be accounts payable. So I'm going to put accounts payable, specifically Schwartz Enterprises. Okay, we're going to use memorandum 313. And I'm going to debit that account. So I'm going to debit it for $270, and I'm going to credit cash for $270. I have a debit and a credit that equal, so I'm going to move on to my next one. August 21st. I'm going to put in the 21st. It says I purchased supplies, $62, using a debit card. Now, we should know whenever it says purchase supplies, that means my supplies are going to increase. They increase with a debit. So I'm going to debit supplies for $62. I'm going to put in memorandum 314, debit that for $62. And then I have to figure out what I'm going to credit. Now, my credit, I'm using a debit card. Remember, that's the same thing as cash. So I'm going to go over to my cash credit, and I'm going to put in 62. I have a debit and a credit that equal, so I'm going to go ahead and say check my answer. Okay, and save and continue. Okay, so that should be pretty easy. You can go ahead and go on to 5-3 on your own.